In today's tutorial you're going to learn 5 different ways to be able to put together your squares. We're going to be doing whip stitching, invisible seam, back loop seam, the single crochet join, as well as the zigzag join. You can choose any one in order to put any motifs together. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd as well as yarnspirations.com. I'm your host Mikey. Today we're going to be experiencing 5 different ways in order to attach your motifs together. We're going to be experiencing the whip stitch, the invisible seam, the back loop seam, the single crochet, as well as zigzag joining. So today you're going to need your crochet hook that matches to your motif that you're trying, and you're also going to need your spare yarn. For tutorial reasons I'm going to use a different color yarn so that you can see exactly how things are gonna go, because most of the times in the stitches that we're about to do is that if you use the same color it buries in it and sometimes you can barely even notice it. You're also gonna need a darning needle today for some of our examples, and let's get started. And we're gonna start off with the whip stitch first. As a personal preference to myself, whenever I go to sew motifs together, I always create a slip knot on one side of the string, just like this, and then I just put the darning needle on the other side. So throughout today's tutorial I'm going to do the same thing every time that we're using a darning needle, and then I'm gonna feed it through the eye. And what's gonna happen is that when I come back around and I go to apply it to the particular motifs, I insert the needle through the slip knot, and then I pull it nice and tight, and then I just weave in the loose ends, and basically it's hard to even tell it's even there. Now today you'll be able to notice it because I am using a different color yarn, but this is exactly the way I do it so that I'm totally 100% secure that it's never gonna fall apart on me. So let's begin the whip stitch today, and the whip stitch is just a matter of going around the stitches and matching it to the other side of the square so that it butts up against each other. So when you're going to be able to do this, what happens when you whip stitch, do you see how it's a flat edge right here? Well, when we whip stitch we're going to be going through the stitches on one side on both of the strands, and then we're gonna match it exactly to the other side. So when we're going to cross over to different layers, so for example these won't be the only 2 if you're doing a granny square afghan, you just simply have to keep following along as you go. So what I do is that I know in this particular one that I have chaining of 2 squares, just like, or chaining of 2 right in the end of the square. So here is my first starting point, is that I know that I had chaining of 2 right in the corner. You could have a different number, but I just want to be able to be very consistent. So I want to start off and I want to insert it. So there's 2 here, and I'm gonna butt up against the other one right here. So I'm only gonna go in one of the 2, not both. So I'm just gonna slip in behind the stitch just like so, and then I'm going to come in to the other side and I'm going to match it. So let's just see where this is here. You can see this is the stitch work, and I want to insert the needle into the same stitch but on the other side, just like so. So then I'm gonna pull through. Now just like I told you with the slip knot before, is that I'm just going to pull everything nice and snug, but before I pull everything snug I want to insert it into the slip knot first, just like so. Pull it nice and tight, and I want to lay down the straggler on top of the line, just like so. So now I'm ready to go, and I simply just have to match the stitch from one side to another. So I'm gonna come into the very next one over here, and then because it's kind of sandwiched up it naturally wants to go into the other one on the other side. But make sure, just double check, and then just being able to go through both sides and then just pull everything through. So every time you're doing this you want to safely go over this straggler so that you can continue to bury it. So now that we've gone into the stitch we're gonna go into the next one. So this is called a whip stitch. So we're just kind of whipping around. I'm not actually 100% sure why they call it a whip stitch. You may know the answer. You know, feel free to leave a comment in the video or the blog. I'd love to hear your opinion on that. I should have Googled it I guess. So it's gonna create like this, these lines that are going across. So once I'm into the gapping space you can either go into the whole gapping space or you can go into the chain, but I will honestly tell you, because the yarn will probably most likely be the same color, I go right into the gapping space. That's just a personal preference for me. Again, if you're going to do something, just be consistent about it. So I'm going to let the straggler fall out of the way just for the rest of the tutorial as I'm going along on this one. So simply I'm just matching one side to another, and then I'm going to just speed myself up. So I want to pay attention to how these are crossing over, and from my point of view of my angle of how I'm teaching this in the tutorial on the studio desk, it's not always the most convenient angle. So things may not appear as nice as they should. So I'm just, again, just matching. You also want to be consistent with your tension of the strings. So you can see I kinda got a little bit of weird tension going on here, but you know, you just kinda stretch it around, just kinda play with it, and the tension will find itself back again. So before I went into the whole complete gap here, so that if I'm going to be consistent, that means I'm gonna do that here. Okay, so again I'm coming to the next group here. And again, when it's the same color, even if you're not consistent, it's hardly noticeable as you're going along. Okay, so I'm coming up to almost my last one. So I started off into the chaining of the first one here as there was two, so I want to make sure that I would do the same on this side here. So I'm just going into the chaining of just one of the two that are in there. So if I was to carry on and I was to move along to the next group of squares, I would immediately start whip stitching around the next group that would be coming along, and then I would join it with the other ones as well using the same kind of angle. So that's how I would do that. To finish off, all I would do is you go the whole length that you want to go, and then what I like to do is that I like to come backward, so from where you came. Okay, so you're just gonna go backward for one, you're gonna go forward for two, and backward for one. So when you go 3 times like this, it'll never fall out on you, and it's a great way to be able to secure in your project. And again, if this was the same color as the blue, you would barely even recognize that was even there. And so I just trim this straggler down, and then I trim this piece here, and then it's good to go. So yeah, it doesn't look the best when it's not the same color, but if you are going to use a different color, you want to make sure that you're consistent with it and just make sure it works. And this is what it looks like on both sides, just like so. So that is how you do a whip stitch. This next part of the tutorial, we're going to cover the invisible seam, and the invisible seam actually makes it look like it completely blends in, like it's part of the stitch work itself. It's actually really truly amazing. So what's gonna happen is that we're not gonna grab it by the top of the stitch here, but we're actually gonna come around the actual piece right underneath the post, just like so. And what this is gonna do is that it's really gonna butt it up really carefully to each other, and when it looks like that it's completely one stitch as going around, so it actually looks like it's really refined. So again, I'm going to use the same color just to illustrate where the stitches are, and again, get your string ready and your slip knot, and let's begin. To begin, we're just going to start off on one square. We do know that we have 2 chains right on the end, so we're just gonna go into the one of them only, and then we're gonna come into the one on the other side as well, so that they match each other, and just simply come around and insert the needle into the slip stitch or slip knot, sorry, and just pull things tight, and then lay down the straggler right on top, and it will most likely be the same color. So this time what you want to do is that when you insert the needle, you want to come in behind the post on the side. So you don't want to come in the top, you just want to come into the side post there. And what you want to just do is just turn it around and just grab the other side post on the other side. So you're coming onto the sides, and this is going to force the top edges to turn over and to sit right directly in front of each other, just like so. So once you have this one done, you're immediately gonna come into the next post that's available to you on the side like this, and then you're going to go into the next post on the other side. So it's around the side post. This provides a really nice tight tension. You may see joins like this, especially when it comes to clothing. It turns out really to be amazing, just like so. So you have a choice on what you just do in the gapping. If you have motifs that have a gap, you can probably just go around the whole thing if you would like to. I'm going to, as long as you're consistent, and then you immediately start back up on the post again, the next one that's available to you, and then jump to the other side. So it's a matter of how you're able to hold this in your hand on how easy it becomes for you. But this one I prefer one of the over top of the regular whip stitching. I think the look is a lot more refined. It looks a lot better, especially in clothing. You don't want any lumps when it comes to joining any kind of arm seams or anything like that. So again, we're into the gap again, so just be consistent. And then we're just gonna finish up this one here. So once we get to the end of this, you would probably, chances are you'll have more motifs to join as you go. You just immediately jump to the next one and just start once again just doing exactly what you see here. Now I've done some other tutorials using this concept, and it really does turn out to be exceptionally nice, and again that's up to you. So you want to make sure you are consistent, so when you get to the ends here, if we went into a chain just like over here, then basically you'd want to do the same on the other side. Okay, so basically what happens here is that yes, you can see that it's red stitching, but if this was the same color it would look like it was still blending really well, and you just gotta pull on it a little bit, and this will turn over that front seam, and this is called the invisible seam. So when all of this is blue, that you basically think it's all just a fancy stitch work on the other side, and this is what you see on the other side. So basically because I went into the gap, you're going to see this, but if it's the same color it's not gonna be as visible. But basically you just wanna play with things and just stretch things back out, and this is called the invisible seam. So on this side you would never even know that there was a seam there if it was done in the right yarn. To finish this off, I would do the same technique as I did before. So you're gonna come back from where you came for one, okay, and then you're gonna go back in the other direction for two, and again you're gonna then go back from where you came again from for number 3, and because it's gone in 3 times it'll never fall out on you, and again you can just cut off your stragglers at that point. And this here I should have buried as I went along, so all you can just do is that you can just make sure it sits down in the middle, and when you go to do the invisible seam that it just sits down, and then it will be trapped into position at the same time. So this is how you do an invisible seam, and I really like this one of most of them. A friend showed me this, and because of that I just really like the way that this looks, and it turns out to be really quite amazing. So there you have your whip stitch, and now you have your invisible seam. For the next trick we are going to do the back loop seam, and the back loop seam is really amazing. It doesn't have any color bleed like this, so if you used a different color yarn you would basically would not see it going through like this. You'll see that it's actually very clean, and it's just a very different idea. The whole idea with the back loop joining is that you got to make sure that the squares are actually turned in the right direction. So what we have to do this is the right side, this is the wrong side, so this is the right side, this here is the right side. You want to sandwich them together so that the right sides are facing each other just like so. And this time what we want to do is that we want to play within the loops only. So I'll show you what to do. Okay, using my darning needle and my slip knot just like before, I want to be consistent again on the sides that I know it's chinning a 2, and what I need to do is that I need to look where the stitches are. So you basically can see 1, 2, okay, these are the strings on 1, and then you can see this one's more clearly. Because the stitches always want to kind of face up, the one that's right here, the first one, is almost harder to see, so you just gotta make sure you see it. So I basically want to just play within the back seams of these ideas. So the back seam or the back loops are different from each. So on the one that's right in front of me, it's gonna be the first loop that you see of the 2. Okay, you see that there's 2 loops in a stitch. It's the first loop of the 2, and then on the other one it's going to be the furthest loop on the 2. So it's gonna be the one furthest on the other side, and we want to go through just those on its own, and then just pull and then insert your needle into the slip stitch right here. So what I want to do is just move along, and so the first one that's right in front of you, it's only gonna be the first loop. Okay, the second one is on the other side, right on the other side of this needle. You just don't touch it, and then you just want to immediately go to the back loop on the other side. So I guess what you could actually say, and I want to put the straggler down in there as well. So I'm just gonna make sure the straggler gets trapped under position. Okay, so what we can actually say is that we're coming to the front loop on the first one, and we're going to the back loop on the other one. Just straight across. Notice how I'm just making sure I'm positioning my string so that it comes in. So I'm coming to the front loop and then the back loop. Now to keep the invisible look, you want to do this on the chain as well. Just the front loop on the first one and then the back loop on the second. Okay, and I'm gonna let the straggler now fall in out of sight. So we have the first loop on the first one, back loop on the second. So I always when I was a kid, if you remember the Roseanne show, I always questioned how they were able to get the stitching to look so good on that Afghan, because whenever I was sewing things together it was so obvious. So I think it was one of these techniques that I'm showing you today, is how they were able to accomplish it and have a really good seam work on that Afghan that they had on their couch. Okay, so we're coming to the final here, and wait till you see that I turn it over. It should actually be amazing. I did a project the other day with this. I haven't actually filmed it yet, but this whole technique has actually worked out really amazing. So I want to make sure that I'm just continuing to move along the same stitches on both sides of the project. Okay, so basically what's gonna happen here is that because we have attached on the one side, see that? So let me get rid of the straggler. See how well that's buried in? Because you went on the back loops. So if you had the same color yarn, you basically would see hardly anything, and because of this you could use two different colors of squares coming together, as long as that the yarn that you're using to attach with is actually consistent. So to finish this off, it would be just like we did before, and just staying on the back side so it does not bleed through to the front. So just carefully just sliding under a few of the strands that are only on the back side, and go in 3 different directions like I've already showed you before. And by doing so, you're trapping it and it will never fall out on you. So just glide it under a few of those fibers. And then just simply trim your work. And basically if you had other squares that you needed to attach at the same time, you could have moved on to other squares, but this is a great idea. I love this seam as well. So this is the back loop seam, just like so. So remember, turn the front sides to each other, and then just on the first one play within the front loop, and the second one play within the back loop, and then you'll have that look. So you can see that it's a very different look from the whip stitching to the invisible seam to the back loop, just like so. In the next part of this tutorial I'm going to show you how to join with a single crochet, and let's just create a slip knot, and you grab your hook that you were using to do this square. So in my case it was a 5.5, a size I. So what I want to do is that I want to be very consistent with it, and this time I can either do one or two options, but make sure that you're consistent. You can either crochet so that both wrong sides are with each other, okay, so it folds up, or you can put them so that the right sides are together. Now you should know that on the side that you choose, so if you do, for example, the wrong sides are together, the seam that we're about to create will sit on the top side of this. So it'll be like a window pane effect. So if you do it on the other side where the right sides are facing each other, the window pane effect will be on the underside, just like so. So you have to decide what's gonna be. So let's I'm going to do it this time with the wrong sides with each other, so that it's right side here, right side on the other side, and I simply just want to come into a side gap, just like so. Let's join on our yarn. So just join on. I'm chaining one, and then I single crochet into the same space. And I want to trap this straggler down on top. So essentially all I'm just gonna do is that I'm gonna go into the one on the one side. I'm just gonna go into the one stitch and then just go into the other one on the other square and just single crochet across. You can also slip stitch yourself across as well as doing kind of double crochet stuff across. It depends on how big you want this raised window pane effect to be sitting on top of your afghan. Usually most people just do it as a single crochet. So I'm just matching, so this is going into the stitch on one side, going onto the stitch on the other. Many crocheters love this because it's a really quick way to be able to fasten things together. And then once you get these squares done, you just have to jump to your next set if you're working down a whole row of joining your squares. Just be very conscientious that all your squares are in position and facing the right direction so that you don't accidentally go down a row and realize that one of your squares is upside down. So on the very ends here is that I will single crochet into the gapping, and then I would just immediately grab another set of squares and just start single crocheting around that one as well. So what happens is that you end up with a window pane effect like this with a raised join just like this, and then on the other side you'll see that it looks like this. So when it's the same color yarn you won't see any of the blue or any of this pink really. It'll be really well blended, but it's a great way to do it. To fasten off you would do the same technique of just making sure that you hide in your loose ends. So pull things tight, throw it on a darning needle and insert it in 1, 2 and 3, and then you can quickly hide that in as well. So let's move on to our last join, which is the zigzag crochet join. Okay, the next part of this tutorial we're going to go to the zigzag join, and this is a concept I don't know if I came up with it or what happened to it. I just realized that I can actually crochet in one side of a square and then crochet into another side just like so, but on a zigzag formation. Now the reason why I thought of that is that because I really wanted to crochet, but I don't want the lift that you see with this. This is too much of a lift for me from what I like to do. So what I decided to do is that I realized that there is actually a pattern of 3 of these coming together, but just because it's your motif looks like this doesn't mean you can't use this technique elsewhere. So what I realized is that if we're actually doing a zigzag join, you gotta picture like a gymnast, how they do the splits, and basically one leg would be here and one leg would be here, and their body is actually keeping everything together. So what I normally do for this is that basically the middle of the stitch is running down right in between, and then basically it's the legs of the gymnast that are holding both together at the same time. So let's begin, and we're going to start off with the first one here, and we're going to just fasten on and just simply just chain 2. So 1 and 2. So what you're going to do is that we're gonna come to the other space on the other side, and we are going to wrap first and then pull through. So we're going to do a double crochet and pull through 2 and 2. Okay, so now you have both of your, see that you're still in the middle of the 2. So now you're gonna come into the first one here, so right into this first stitch we're going to double crochet. Okay, so this time on the other side you've already gone into the first stitch on this one, so this one I only want you to go into the middle one of the group of 3. Okay, so you're skipping 1 stitch. Okay, so now you're gonna come in and crochet, so you're skipping this stitch and come into the last one. So basically what's happening is that if you ever have squares like this, the zigzag join on one side will always be in the middle of the group of 3, and on the other side it will always be on the outside 2 of the group of 3. So now that you've done that, you're just gonna simply just follow it along. So you're skipping 1 here. This means that you're into a gap on the other side. So you're just basically skipping each stitch is going around. So you're in the middle here, and if you have to skip over 1, which is this gap, so the first one is right in the first stitch here. So it'll always be the same. So this square will always have the joins every other one like this, and the other one will always be in the middle of one and always on the space if you're having a groups of 3 like this. So if this first one's in, this means that the next one is in the middle. And I'm just gonna quickly blaze along. So I'm just simply just coming along. This is a really easy way to join. And then coming, oh, see I'm in the gap here. I was gonna come in the gap just as a natural thing, but I wanna make sure I skip it. So I'm basically working in a zigzag, coming going down the squares. So I'm jumping from here, then moving up, and then back and up and back like a sewing machine. So on the very ends here is that I'm gonna come into the gap space here and then gap space here, just to be consistent, and then I would jump to my next group of squares. So basically what's gonna happen at this point, I'm just gonna pull this out, is that your zigzag join is right there. So hopefully you can see that the stitches are not actually across from each other. So they're down and then it's moving up and then up, 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 up like a sewing machine. And this particular space right here, when it's sitting down, it'll sit more flat and you can pull it out just like so. And basically if you turn it over as well, it has a different look. So you want to determine what you want for this. So for example, you will see a raised edge here, but it's not as significant, and then you'll have some nice lace kind of stitch work that are holding the squares together. And so to finish off, then basically it's the same thing with your darning needle. Just fasten off and then just go in and out 3 times, and this is how you would do a zigzag join.